Hello and welcome to Mark Goldbridge, This Is Your Life, the story of Mark Goldbridge and how he became to be the presenter of the United Stand. Fasten your seatbelts, there's a big list of people who are going to get their comeuppance tonight. But before I start, wait a minute. What do you mean it's not about Mark Goldbridge? But well, not important. Fine, okay. Got it wrong. Hello and welcome to the story of the United Stand, the Manchester United fan channel, all about you. And just to make it more about you, this first bit we're going to whiz through it and tell you the story, and then Tuesday night live at 8:30, which is what we're all about really. We're going to have a live comment section and you can ask everything you want to about the United Stand. It is your channel, as I keep saying, as we've always said. It's not a cliche. We've consistently always been about fans and what you've got to say, which is why we focus on live content, which is why with the new FIFA League and the new FIFA channel we're doing live comment, because you cannot beat it. You can't hide, and it involves you and it's interactive, and so that's what we'll do. The first bit though, we're going to whiz through it. What's the story of the United Stand? Lots of people have asked us about it. How did it start? How did you come here? Well, the honest truth is we've been going 2 years, only 2 years, and it's been amazing, and it just keeps growing. So you know what? It is about you, because without you we're nothing. But it started 2 years ago. I was on holiday in Mallorca in a villa. I forget the name of the resort. Is it Sao Como or something like that? I was on holiday with Mel C from the Spice Girls. She was nagging me. It was a really hot day. I sent her off down the shops to get some tapas for tea, and I went and had a nice relax on the pool on a lilo, and I was lying there and I was thinking, you know what? There's no content out there for fans. It's all media driven. I'd probably read the morning paper with yet another highly paid ex-pro looking after his mates, having a personal tirade against somebody he probably didn't like, biased opinion. And I thought, you know, fan opinion's what it's all about. Down the pub with your mates. I've got some fantastic mates who don't support United. I've got some who do. But when it goes, whether they support us or not, when you're down the pub having a chat, or you're on the train or wherever, I'm not advocating drinking, although that is fun. There are no friends when it comes to football. We've all got our own opinions. You know, you can have your best man for a wedding, you talk about Rooney, you're falling out. But it's left there. That's what it is. Football chat and debate. It's left there. It's respected. You don't see that. Without the fans, football is nothing. Big sponsors, big money, Rooney on £300,000 a week. It'd be on 30 pence a week if fans withdrew, because all the money, all the sponsors, it comes from our pocket. We don't have a voice. So that's where the United Stand started off. Had no idea about Twitter, no idea about YouTube, totally self-taught, and learnt some bad lessons along the way, as we'll come on to. But it didn't start as the United Stand. This is the funny thing. Toying with the idea of putting some of the old videos up. Probably won't, because they're crap and it makes me look crap. I have improved a lot. But Soccerbox is where it started. Some of you may remember Soccerbox. It was called Soccerbox simply because I had this angle when I was going to start doing it. I do like to bring comedy into it. I do like banter. I love football, and that's what football's always been to me. Don't take life too seriously. Leave that for actually watching the game and on the pitch. When it comes to banter between fans, I quite enjoy it. So I also went onto Twitter and found that there's so much nonsense on there. So hands up, I've said it before, the very first Twitter account we had, I think it had like sports journalist in the bio, everything like that. So Mark Goldbridge, sports journalist, Soccerbox. And I was doing videos that weren't United centric. It was like weekly videos talking about football in general, ripping the mick out of everybody. And we did that probably from the first week of the season 2 years ago until around the end of September, when stumbled on just one afternoon. I was bored, loaded up a match review of a United game for about 5 minutes, and it got a lot more views than the other stuff, probably because that was rubbish. And it sort of then got invited onto a channel that doesn't exist anymore as a guest on a Sunday night show at 10 o'clock, and that went quite well. And you know, started to really enjoy it, and manoeuvred Soccerbox towards being Manchester United central. Started doing previews, match reactions, and then there was a little bit of a fallout because I was guesting on this other channel as a guest, obviously guesting on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock, and Fellaini's where it all started. A lot of people say, well, where does this needle start? Because there has been issues with other United accounts, channels in the past, and people often say, well, you know, how did it all start? And the reality is it started with Fellaini, which is very, very funny now, because Fellaini's a funny player. I've always been very consistent about him. He's doing fantastically well at the moment. As I keep saying, people will say about Pep that what he's doing with Sterling is amazing. Well, what Jose's done with Fellaini is, as I keep saying, biblical. It really is amazing what he's done. Turning a player who, for me, is just not a Manchester United player and he's not a very good footballer, but moulding him into something very, 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 very boxed in. This is what you do. And if you do these 2 or 3 things well, you will be in my team, and it's working. However, 2 years ago, was on this show, basically said something about Fellaini, and another guest had a pop at me, but I wasn't allowed to have a go back. So I spoke to the host at the time after the show, and I said I thought it was really unprofessional the way you hosted that channel, because you didn't allow me, you know, I'm live on air, I get attacked, you don't give me an opportunity to come back. He didn't like that reaction, said I wouldn't be on the show ever again. So we started up our own Sunday night show, that's where it started really, and we started on from there. In relation to that whole Fellaini thing, I think there was a few tweets floating around at the time, and a few other people, I'm sure you can guess who they were, they jumped on the whole Fellaini thing, and that's where it really sort of started. They were very loyal to Fellaini, which there's nothing wrong with that. I was like, I don't think he's a Manchester United player, and to be honest, 2 years ago he wasn't. He was, and for the last 2 years he's not been. But that's where it started. It started much, funnily enough, for what the United stand should be, which is about fan opinion. But unfortunately, as you'll see on Twitter and with some people, it descends into personal abuse, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which you'll never see from the people on the United stand. We're not about that. We'll call people out on their opinions. That's right, and that's only right, isn't it? You know, it's all about football, but some people take it too far. Football should not be about abusing people and getting personal. It should be about the enjoyment of the game, having opinions, but never taking it down to that level, because at the end of the day, football is a game. We're all passionate about Manchester United, but there's no need for all that lot. So we started Soccer Box, brought Kev, Martin and Rich, who no longer does it, involved around the December time, started doing the Sunday shows, and then just after Christmas we launched the United Stand. We changed the name of the United Stand. So at that point, without further ado, I think we'll change the situation to give you something else to look at, and we'll go into one of the United Stand sets for you. See you in a moment. And as if by magic, here we are in one of the United Stand sets. We've come a long way, baby. We've come a long way. Draughty Devil obviously designed that. He's not part of the story yet. So we're January. We're 18 months ago, the first Christmas of the United Stand. Interestingly enough, another person who's now part of the United Stand, Joey, was part of that channel that I initially used to go on and as a guest, and we didn't used to get on that well because of all that fallout, which is ridiculous, but just shows you how the wrong interpretation can be given of people. And I think hopefully Joey does like me now, I hope so. But yeah, so Christmas, the first Christmas was we hit our first 1,000 subscribers, which if I look back now, I think on a Sunday show we average around 500 of you watching, which is fantastic. And I think when we were back 18 months ago, we were probably getting around 50 people watching, and we were ecstatic with that. And it was a pretty much the same lineup every week on a Google Hangout. It was me hosting with Kev, Martin and Rich. And then in the January, we changed to the United Stand. We had a different logo to what we've got now, designed by me and Martin. And we ran a prize. We had a Sunday come up that we didn't have a guest. We were a guest down. Put it out onto Twitter. Does anyone want to come on? And little Alex replied. People always say, why is Alex on the channel? Well, he won a competition and we couldn't do anything about it. So he used to be on the live comments, like sort of being a bit of answering people on there. He came on the show, and to be honest, Alex is good, isn't he? He's controversial. He's passionate about what he thinks. He jinxes the club to hell. If you've not heard about this, he's had Falcao on his shirt, Di Maria on the back of his shirt. He's got Martial now, who's suddenly gone crap. He's had Memphis on there. It's not a joke. Every player he has on the back of the shirt does go crap. But there we go. So we bring Alex on board, and we're going strength to strength to end that first season for the United Stand. Go into the season, we think, oh, that's the end of it, because it's only our first season doing it. We'll carry on through the summer doing a bit of transfer stuff, and we finished the summer, our first summer, a year ago, with 10,000 subscribers. So we went from January to August, 8 months. We went from 1,000 to 10,000 subscribers, which was amazing. And I think a lot of that's down to the fact that regular content, but also just the interaction, the transfers. It was a good summer last year. We have had good summers in relation to signings. There's always a lot to talk about. Not as good as the one that's just gone, but you know if you're a regular yourself, we love talking about transfers, and that's how it is. So we went into the new season. A lot of controversies at the start of last season, wasn't there? Van Gaal's last, thank God. We sort of took a stance as a channel that we were going to be Louis van Gaal out, which was really, really difficult. But it was a collective decision. We were doing shows every Sunday night. We were finding we were really frustrated with Van Gaal, and I think all of our panelists were Van Gaal out, including me. And it's like, do you go down that play for likes and be dishonest and try and find an angle for Van Gaal, or do you just be honest? And we always tried to get people on to come on and defend him, but nobody wanted to do it. And so we went down that route, and at times we probably lost subscribers and followers on Twitter because of our stance, but we believed in it and we'd given him an opportunity. And as last season developed, it became more and more forceful, especially around Christmas time, where we were saying he needs to be sacked. Some people didn't like that, and looking back on it, it was difficult, and it was probably the wrong decision. I think personally I made a wrong decision. I should have tried to be more impartial, but unfortunately, if you watch this channel, my heart takes over my head sometimes, and I wanted him out. And I think when you go down a path, you have to see it through to the end. And we were proven right. We don't try and rub that in about Van Gaal. We were proven right, but it was difficult at times. There was a lot of conflict and a lot of people who felt we were selling the club out. But we always tried to say that this was for the benefit of the club to get rid of this fan fraud, as we called him. And that's what happened, isn't it? I just missed something that was quite important. Last November, winning the best new vlog at the Footballing Vlogging Awards in Manchester. I couldn't attend. Kev won. I watched it live on YouTube because they beamed it out live, and it was an amazing moment to win it. We were voted it by the fans. We will be entering again this year, so if you can vote for us, it's amazing, because the interesting thing about this, and you know what, there has been conflicts. I'm going to talk about why I left in a moment, but if people didn't know, it's been an interesting 2 years, and I think if I and the United Stand people could do things again differently, we would do. I think we now see as a big United fan channel maybe some of the issues we caused when we started, because we came in, we didn't really have much of a following, but we were very vocal, and I think that put the nose out of joint for some of the more established people who were like, why are you being so vocal and rubbing people up the wrong way when you need to build relationships and get on with people. However, in defense of what we are, we've always been consistent. Even though we're big now, we do say what we think. That is the tagline of the show. It's a fan channel for the fans, saying how it is, and if we see things that we don't agree with, then we'll be vocal about it. But it's interesting. Personally, the United Stand has no issue with anybody. We have had fallouts in the past, but we don't, and I think everybody's just doing their own thing now, which is the way it should have been in the first place. So but winning that award, and where we are now with I think 40,000 subscribers, just very quickly, we are the only independent fan channel pretty much with more than 10,000 subscribers. There are others out there, other club channels out there. And the sad thing is, I was on Fan TV the other night, and obviously speaking with a City fan, and that's probably one of the first times I've done that, or any panellist has done that, in the 2 years we've been doing this. And it's not because we don't want to speak to other fan channels. A lot of you say, oh, it'd be great to get somebody on from a Liverpool fan channel or an Arsenal fan channel on, and we try to do it, but they don't do it, because unfortunately everybody is tied into some sort of media sponsorship thing, and they don't want to work with other people who aren't part of that, and it makes it very difficult. We're trying to bridge that gap with some, but then to bridge that gap, you've got to buy into that or come under that contract, which we can't do that. We cannot do that. We are independent. We've got to be independent. What I would say is, I don't think there are many Liverpool or Arsenal fans out there, But get out, watch what the United stand's done over the last 2 years and replicate it and do it, because you can do it. You've got a lot of support. You've got a load of supporters. There's only 1 or 2 channels doing it for those clubs. There's about 4 or 5 doing it for United. Get out there, do it, start working with us, get big. We're not going to make you get big by any means, but go off and do it. There won't be any watching, will there? That's the whole point. But maybe you want to do it as a United outlet as well. You know, but it is a shame because it's just so corporate, and that's not what fan channels should be. Not at all. And if that's speaking out of turn, then I don't think it is. I think, you know, people want, if you're a fan channel, you're not Gary Lineker, you're not Jeff Stelling, you're a fan channel. You should be about the fans, and that means when fans say, I want to see you in a debate with, I don't know, KSI, Spencer Owen, True Geordie, Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, then that should happen, or a fellow United channel, then you should do that, because you're not a media company. That's selling out. That's not what you are. You are a fan channel, and you should be about fan interaction and debate. But that's not that. That's just what I think. That's what I think, and that is not an issue going forward. But we carry on. We've grown perfectly well without it, and we'll carry on to do it. But people always say, "Why don't you do stuff with other people?" And it is very difficult. Very, very difficult. However, that sort of brings me on. So we won the award. We go to Christmas last, and Mark Goldbridge and the Draughty Devil. Draughty Devil came in around just before we won the award, and I shouldn't underestimate that. He is next on the line. Massive part of the channel. Got involved with us just towards the start of last season, and the graphics that he's done have been great. Redesigned the logo. Massive part of the United stand, just like everybody else. And also Rick's was brought in with him. He does a lot of the Rick's graphics. He does the graphics, funnily enough, and thumbnails on that. So there's a massive amount of people. But I think when I look at the studio we're sat in now, that's down to the Draughty Devil, and he's a massive part of it as well. But when it came to Christmas, we both left, just gone January. Some people said it was a publicity stunt. I'll tell you the truth behind why I left very quickly, for those who are still watching. I left because last January the channel had sort of stagnated, which is a really weird thing to say when you're approaching 20,000 subscribers and the viewerships are going up all the time. But I was getting tired. I felt like every video was me. I felt like people couldn't commit to it like they used to be able to, because, you know, life was taken over, and there was a lot of abuse coming through on Twitter, which I should never let bother me. It wasn't even from the people who you might even guess. There was some stuff. I think if you go on the website, when I've wrote articles in the past, there's a little bio. It explains why I support Manchester United, my granddad and stuff like that. And people were putting my head on some pretty grotesque dead child images and slating my dead granddad. And it was a culmination of things, and I was just like, it's not worth it. It isn't worth it. I'm going to walk away from it. And I did. And I was away for about 2.5 weeks. Loads of people wanted me to come back, and the Draughty Devil. We sat about, we spoke about it, and we thought, you know what, we'll come back, but we'll do things very differently, i.e. ignore a lot of the hate, which is what you should do if you're on social media. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there. There's a lot of people out there who just, I don't know, I think they must have very sad lives that they need to abuse people in a faceless sense. Maybe they'd do it out on the street as well. Maybe they'd even punch you in the face, but that says a lot about those sort of people. It's not the sort of people I want to associate with or spend any time thinking about, and I'd implore you to be the same. Like's not like about that. There's enough evil in the world without dealing with people who are faceless keyboard warriors on Twitter, or who just want to abuse you for some sort of loathing that makes them despise and be bitter about what other people are doing. But that was the whole truth of it. I did let things come down on top. I'm always quite truthful about it. But we came back. We hit the end of the season. I'm not about to cry. I need a drink. Van Gaal was sacked. We went into this summer, and we've come out of it with over 40,000 subscribers. So in 2 years, 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, growing all the time. We're getting hundreds of people watching every live stream we do. Twitter's growing. We're moving into Facebook. We've started the FIFA channel, which is great. There's just so much to get involved with, and I hope I've whizzed through that quickly. I don't even know how long I've been talking, and I hope I haven't bored you to death, but I think I've covered just about everything that I wanted to do, other than to say the most important thing is that can be the most boring story you've ever listened to, or it could give you a bit of insight into the United stand. But there's two things that stand for me. One, the truth. There is a truth there. I did start it off as Soccer Box, or me and another, and I did front myself as some sort of journalist for a laugh, because that's what it always was going to be to me, was a laugh. Soccer Box, talking about football in general. Stumbled on doing United stuff, and then the United stand was born from that. There is no issue with any. I mean, I think especially the last few weeks, it's just been the most enjoyable period of the United stand. Partly because United are doing so well and they're so interesting to watch. Mainly because just love doing live content with you lot on the live comments. In fact, I'm missing it doing this video. And so much exciting things for us to be getting involved with fans who tend to have the same outlook on us, which I don't mean you agree with us, because that's not what this is ever meant to be. I love the fact that some of you are so passionate about Rooney when we're not. I love the fact that some of you defended, very, very few of you, defended Fellaini for the last 3 years when he's been crap. But, you know, that's my opinion, yours is yours, and that's why we love doing this. So, in relation to anything else going on out there, there has never been a problem, and there is no problem. So ignore it. That's what we do now. We just ignore it and we crack on with our own things, because the United stand is important. As I said, it is the only independent fan channel. When we say we are the biggest independent fan channel, it's a fact. If there's somebody out there who wants to come out and say, well, we're totally independent, and they want to work and do some stuff with us, great. But there isn't. There isn't, because we've tried it and there isn't. And we are the biggest independent fan channel, and we will work with anybody. But the reality is doors get closed because of what goes on behind closed doors. And there's a lot of corporateness to this, which I never knew about. None of us knew about it, and we've sort of learned it along the way. But you know what? Each their own. Everybody's doing their own thing. I'm sure there's some great content out there. I don't watch it, and that's not rudeness, because I don't even watch this back. When you're doing it live, you know what's going on. I don't need to watch this back, and to be honest, I don't watch anything back from the United stand. So I certainly don't spend my time watching other channels, and that's always been the truth, and that's not me being bitter or anything like that. I know the amount of time that goes into all this. I know the amount of work goes into it, and I applaud everybody who does it. I just think it's a shame sometimes how bitter and abusive it gets. But I think it's died down now. It's amazing, really, because it's you know, we all support the same club, don't we? But on the positive sense, the United stand hopefully will just keep growing and growing. Keep getting involved. Keep telling your friends about it. Keep feeling part of it, because that's what it's all about. And without you, as I've always said, we're nothing without you, and we're everything with you. And that is the end of the story. I just want to also say that there are people that should be mentioned, and they're probably moody about it, but I didn't want to sort of go through it in a breakdown of when they got involved, etc. This is the Mark Goldbridge, this is your life story. I don't care what anybody says. No, it's not. But to go through it from the top of my head, and if I miss people out, I'm really sorry. But Richard Hill obviously was there from the start. Martin, Kev, very much from the start. We had a lad called Mitch who was on as well. Craig, who does that Totally MUFC. Obviously Alex, who got involved. Joey is involved now. We've got Paul Gardner, who does the website, and he's been a guest as well. Chris, obviously, and Dan, who've just joined in. Draughty Devil, massive part of helping out over the last year with all the graphics and that, with Rick's graphics as well. NBC has just got involved. And obviously we've had a couple of girls to shout at as well. Anna was here at the start. I've not spoken to her in a long time. She was not a Manchester United fan, which made it more comedic in itself, but great girl. And obviously Zara, who we got involved at the start of the year, and is just on a fast track. She's working at Manchester United now, BBC. She's, you know, from day one we knew she was going to go places, and it was great to have her involved as well. I'm just trying to think. There are other people, and it'd be really wrong of me not to shout them out. But do get commenting below. Give us your thoughts on the United stand, and what it means to you, what you would do to, you know, maybe change things. Maybe it's time I left. I don't know. But that is the plan in the future for sure. But we'll see what happens. Thanks everybody for watching. Tuesday night we will be doing the live United Stand reaction for you all to get involved and ask anything you want to do. We'll get a couple of guests on that. Sunday night, obviously, we've got the Sunday Night Live. And we're building towards the derby now, which is fantastic. But I just wanted to have a little bit of a look there, just to make sure there's nothing that I've missed. And if I've missed anything, then please let me know. But Callum, I knew there was somebody. It's because he's moved to Australia. Callum as well, obviously does the watch-alongs with us. Dermot as well, he was involved. I reckon there's somebody I've forgotten, and I deserve to get a smack, and I'll rectify that wrong on Tuesday. But it's hard when you're recording something to get it right. But thanks everybody for watching. Speak to you all very soon. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've understood it. And if you ever are starting your own channel or anything like that, drop us a message. We'll always be happy to help. It's hard work for anybody who does it. I applaud them. And but it's been a great journey, and I just hope it can continue, because the one thing that it started off in that swimming pool when Mel C had done my head in was that just wanted something pure and about fan content that isn't controlled by anybody, that comes from the heart, that says it how it is. And the bigger this gets, the bigger that voice gets, because we don't go down the corporate route of what Manchester United, Manchester United would want us to be saying, Rooney's great, so buy shirts. Well, we're not going to do that, because that's not what fan opinion's about. It is 100% pure. It is made by that because of what you say, and you give us so many ideas. So just keep commenting. We read them all, and I nicked some of them. There we go. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon, and I hope you've enjoyed it. For those who wanted it, I hope it's not been a disappointment, and I hope it's not been too boring. Thanks everyone for watching.